Nice, isn't it? Does it look fake? It's not. It's real. Funny how when you're young you want to jump right into the noise and go through all the noise and a lot of life, and you just want some solitude and peace and quiet and go to the forest. So, welcome to the channel. I'm just jumping right in. I got several ideas and adding them all to this channel. I'm not gonna separate them right now. I thought about that, but that's what kind of got me for the last 10 years of delaying. I had a lot of ideas and a lot of planning, and I was gonna lay it all out, and I did several times, and actually attempted 3 or 4 times, and then I never started, and next thing you know, 10, 15 years go by. So part of today's video actually goes along with that, just jumping in, because there's something to be said about doing the dance without having every step accounted for or even practiced. You just kind of jump in and see what comes about in the dance and react and enjoy it, and maybe not enjoy it in some parts, but you're jumping in. So that's what I'm doing. Man, I don't know if it ever gets easy. I'm sure it does with practice, but being behind the camera, it gets a little... I sat down there for probably the last 20 minutes just trying to figure out how to hit record. But anyways, here we go, right? I'm assuming you get a little more comfortable after some time, but this is a great spot here, especially for the things I wanted to share today. So I'm starting another faucet. We have, of course, the eco-villages or intentional communities. That is one avenue. We got the first video up, and then I do have a couple other potential ones that looks like I'm gonna be interviewing, so we'll have those up. No time frame set right now, just when timing sets up and when all things are aligned, then in a way from both sides, I guess, allowing it to just happen. And then this is another faucet, I guess, if you want to say, that I wanted to add in an epiphany that I had, a rather big epiphany, and also I wanted this to be the beginning video. I don't know what I'm gonna title it, something along those lines of starting out with another avenue of dad advice. By no means am I gonna say throughout this video that I'm perfect. No way. You figure it out as you go along, and I don't know, you go through a lot of ups and downs. But any parent, if you're a parent and you're watching this, you know that it definitely opens up that part inside of you if you're wanting to really tap into the epiphany that I had of, you know, some of the greatest love that you can ever experience. And I think, you know, looking back on it in some ways, even right now too, is, man, you don't realize how much when you're young that you're just looking for unconditional love. And, you know, growing up as a child, you're seeking that out, and even as you get older, it's like this underlining thing that I feel like we're all searching for, and we all don't know how to fully give it, right? We're all learning and trying to figure it out as we go along, or even give it in some ways. And I think that has a big play with how much you're willing, each person, to open up that unconditional love within yourself, to be able to, I don't know, first allow it, but also to taking that risk into the unknown of, it's like a giving and a receiving to yourself. And I want this video to be starting off with a little bit of backstory with me and my son, and what he's taught me, and some of the things that I've opened up about just having him in my life. And we'll start the video that way, and then we'll go into, with the next videos, I'm going to try to keep them a little shorter. This one might be a little bit longer, but I really wanted this video to be the first one. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing a letter that really I was able to write to him, and I'll give you some more info on, really that's where I had some really cool epiphanies as a dad. And you go through life, sometimes rather it goes by really quickly, and sometimes you ponder, sometimes you take some moments and success moments, or celebrate some things, and definitely some joyful moments and hard moments. But you know, now I think this definitely was a milestone, a turning of a page. And so but before we get into that, I wanted to just let you know, in these next videos, I'm going to keep them a little bit shorter, but I'm going to cover one topic, and we're just going to talk about it. And the reason that I wanted to do this is because, you know, after even myself watching some of those YouTube videos, and a lot of times I'll tell you, it's kind of fun, just you see the videos with like 10 views or 5 views or maybe 50 views or something, or even like 500 views, and you're like, I want to see this one. Let's see this one. Because you know it's real for the most part. Somebody posted it, it's been on for a little while, and they were sharing. And I'll tell you, a lot of times, just from those little videos, I got something amazing. And I was like, you know, here's a real person sharing their heart and their experience, and they just want to put it out there. And so thank you for sharing those videos, even though if you don't have a bunch of views. And, you know, of course, there's a bunch too. I was watching some podcasts with lots of views and got some amazing things from, but I just wanted to share that because as I do this, I wanted these to be short and sweet, and I wanted them just to be real. As I was looking at, I even watched some of the videos of like, oh, how to create content, how to be on YouTube, and from an overview standpoint, I could see, I was like, okay, is this how you do it? You know, I'm trying to learn and figure out how to be behind the camera, how to share, how to open up my heart. Because it's something I really want to do, but it gets the blood pumping a little bit, and I gotta overcome some obstacles myself. But I could, as I was watching these videos, and it was talking about how you should do YouTube and make the most money and all this, and it didn't rub me right, but I was like, well, there's got to be something I can learn. But a lot of it seemed like it was going from like no face, and that's all great, no problem, you know, people can do that. But to me, it didn't align, because I feel like you can really connect with somebody when they're really being real and sharing. And I feel like on the long term, that's what I wanted this channel to be. And that's why I'm putting all these avenues in one channel. Maybe later down the road, we'll see how it goes, and I'll separate them out and do different channels with different subjects, if you're supposed to do that. But I wanted this just to be organic and see where it goes. I'm kind of jumping in with things I love and things that are on my heart, and as I turn these pages into becoming older and finding a different purpose in my life. Even that's kind of a bit of a challenge, because you know, you live your life for so long and you have your things that you love. And like, for example, I love to surf, have loved to surf all my life, and my body's not fully handling it like it used to. So it's a bit of a hurdle to be able to, in your mind, be like, well, this might not be something I can do the rest of my life. Maybe I could do small kind longboard, but I got a few injuries that trying to rehab and get done. But anyways, turning that page, back on the subject here, turning that page into this new realm. And I could see this is definitely one of those avenues that I wanted to open up in this channel. I have a few other ideas I'll be adding on later. When I come to that, I'll figure out where I want to film it, and then kind of some of the topics, and we'll share those later. But today, in today's video, I really want to share the beginning of this kind of dad advice channel, and covering these small kind topics that are just everyday things that you come across as a kid, human, and being in the noise or being in the world, or maybe, you know, not so much, but they're all things that we all wanted to know and learn. And when I was a kid, man, we didn't have these types of videos that we could tap into and learn, and you know, that's okay. That was part of our generation, and it's really cool that you can do that now, even though, you know, it's got the full contrast of it. But man, you could tap into anything. And so I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to share, and I wanted to be able to help some people out that are just clicking around, and you know, they've helped me on some little moments in my life. So if you found this video, then maybe here's something for you, and awesome. But we'll start covering the topics in the next videos and share them. I find myself now in these years, the reason I'm doing this is I find myself, you know, I'll meet people, or even, you know, just anybody, and it's like I can't help but want to help them, make them feel better, give a little ease to their path and their journey. You know, we all struggled, you know, with certain things, and still I do today. But when you see it as a human and a compassionate spirit, you want to be like, oh, just what about a different perspective? Let's look at it this way. You know, it's just a matter, if we look at this way, it becomes a little easier, and then we can, you know, what is this? You know, and you ask yourself, you know, the questions, and that energy can change, and can make life a little easier, and then get those questions answered, maybe even on their own, you know, or even if you're asking yourself the questions and getting your answers through spirit, and being able to get that clarity. So I find myself doing that all the time, so I figured I'd just start doing it on the videos. And so here we go. So I wanted to share this epiphany that I had, and revolves around unconditional love. And you know, it's a big topic because we try to choose the best way that we can love, and we learn, you know, how we were loved by our parents. And I know that's a big imprint on our life, and being able to, you know, share that. See, in my experience, having a son, I wasn't planning on it. You know, I guess the human mind thinks like, oh, it'd be great to like plan it all and have it set up and things supported and nice, and then have a child. And I'm sure you can even, there's ways to do that too, which sounds amazing, and you still kind of plan for it a little bit, I guess. But you know, in my experience, next thing you know, having a son, and you kind of just jump right in, and you don't really know what you're doing, you know, you're a kid, and you get a little older and somewhat become an adult, and you know, next thing you know, I think you're moving on to love, unconditional love, getting married, and then having a son. My son was a honeymoon baby, and you know, I remember the time, you know, it was like, it opens up doors inside of you, and it changes a lot of things, because you come to that point of like, what am I gonna do about this? You know, am I gonna go this way with it? Am I gonna go this way? And I remember I didn't know the path. I just was like, here we go. And I'm gonna love this guy no matter what. I'm gonna figure it out. And I was 26 at the time. Crazy how much time goes by, but I remember that key point of like, whatever comes about, I'm just gonna love this guy. And love this human either way. I remember that. And then later found out, I say guy now because later you find out the sex, and he was a boy, and I'm like, all right, awesome. Gonna have a little mini me. And I think that's part of the epiphany that I have for this video, is because just jumping right in it, right? You want to plan it all, you want to have it lined up, but there's definitely something to be said and just going, all right, this is a new page I'm turning, this is the direction I want to go, and you feel it inside, and you're like, this is what I love, I want, this is what I can feel the passion, I can feel spirit calling on this one, and wanting to flow through, and that was part of it. And I think, you know, I wanted to share a little bit of that, and then you go through a lot of ups and downs, and ended up getting divorced 4 years later, got married pretty quick. But I love this little human, and I don't think I realized it at the time, but looking back on it now, I could see it's like it opens up the channel to loving yourself, your own inner child, that we do sometimes very easily forget about, and then come back to later, and then you want to heal that inner child. And I didn't really know it all those years, but I just was figuring out how to do that and how to love them, and do the best I could. And so you go through all that time, and then being able to bring it, you know, 18 years later, I think I had this like inner thing happening on the inside where it was like I wanted to be able to get him to be 18 years old. And if I could get him to be 18 years old, healthy, strong, smart, and on his way, you know, like that was, I feel like, my goal for him, and I wanted to teach him everything that I could, and I didn't know how or what I was gonna do it, but I just figured I'm just gonna learn, and I'm gonna love him, and it's gonna come from just showing him everything, and then letting him decide, and empowering him so that he can make his own decisions with his own spirit. And that was, you know, and having that ultimate goal to get him to 18 and graduate high school, there's a lot of years in between and a lot of amazing times and gnarly times. We'll go into more depth maybe in some of that stuff later in another video that I want to share, but just recently, I'll say within the last year and a half now, he turned, back when I wrote this letter, he turned 18, had his last year in high school, and I was so proud and so happy in one sense, because it was like, oh, like I made it, I'm still alive, and he's healthy and strong, and he's doing it, and he's happy about life, passionate about life. I could see his things coming out in him, and I just wanted to support him no matter what they were, and the school, when he was graduating, they wanted me to write a letter, and they were going to do it at like this camp thing before they graduated. And and I thought, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to write him a letter. And they said they're going to, you can write it up and email it to him, and then they're going to print it off and give it to him at camp with all the other, each kid's going to get letters from their parents. And like I sat down and wrote this, and I'm going to share the letter with you. I started writing this, and then I was like, oh, I started typing it, and then I was like, on my phone, and I was like, wait, I want to speak it because I feel like there's more in me that I want to share with them. So I started doing like voice to text, and then like the thought crossed my mind, should I try to use ChatGPT to see if it like would spark some things, because you kind of get a little stumped. You're like, oh my God, all these years, how do I piece this together in one letter and share? And I was like, well, I like even searched, and I put it in ChatGPT, and I was like, let's see what comes up. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh man, this is not even correlated. This can't even express the words, but it had some good little inspirations in it. But what I ended up doing is I just did this voice to text, and I just started speaking. I was like, let's just speak from the heart. I love this kid, and he's graduating, and I want to share that with him, and maybe a letter he can take with him, forever if, I pass on, and he can look back and read this letter, and give him some inspiration and help along his journey if I'm not still around. But so I just started doing it, and as I did, I could feel things opening up, and my own love, and that love that I had for him when he was young, and obviously all those memories, and you're like, wow, this is really opening me back up all over again. And even as I do it right now, it's like I can feel the tears just holding back a little bit. Not too bad, but if I read the letter, I went and reread this letter after I had sent it to him, and he told me he got it, he loved the letter, and he's like, thanks Dad, I love you. I have the letter stored on my phone, and then I reread it, and as I was rereading it, that's when I had the epiphany. I was like, wow, I think I finally understand unconditional love, and my son was just kind of like that permission slip that allowed me to be able to open that up and let that flow through, which I believe, flow through straight from God and spirit, and let that come out. And I was like, whoa, holy smokes, like I didn't know I could love like that. And then all the relationships and things that you go through in your life, it's like there's a lot of impermanence, and things, you have friends for a little while, and then they're no longer your friend, and which is no problem. Sometimes they're just long distance friends, or or your intimate relationships. You want them to last, And you think that you can make them last, but then they don't last, and then you feel like a failure. And then you're like, what did I do? You know, after you get past the what did they do? And then you eventually go, what did I do? You know, because you kind of, if you start, you know, later you hit those cycles, and then you're like, oh, you know. But it really, now knowing it comes back to being able to share that love with my own inner child. And that's where I had the epiphany. I was like, wow, I wrote this letter kind of in a way like I love my son completely, but no pressure on him, because it was like I chose to open that up inside of me to share everything I had with this guy. And I did it in a way that I was like sharing with my own inner child, and I didn't even realize it. And I didn't know I could love like that. And I feel like that's ultimately why we all come, you know, to this realm or world, to experience that. And I had this moment of like, wow, I feel like I finally really experienced that, not just on a little bit of a level or intimate level, or, you know, it was like a really, really, over a long period of time, was able to do it. I feel like a success. I got him to 18, but yet here I am opening up this channel. And the only other time, your parents probably, you understand this a little bit better, or you know, because it does, definitely kids open up that unconditional love in you. And the only other thing I think would be animals. You know, when you have a dog or cat or any animal that you really love. And we had a lab, and he definitely was an angel and taught me a bunch of stuff about unconditional love all the time. Every time you come home, they're happy to see you. But yeah, that epiphany that I had, I was like, wow, this is my own inner child I'm speaking to, and I really feel this love that I can open up. And I was like, wow, how it doesn't have to just be my son. I can if I want to choose to open this up to love like this, I could do this with any relationship to anything, whether it be a forest, trees, a new chapter in my life of purpose. And that's what I wanted to share on this video. I'm gonna share the letter, and when I reread the letter, I was thinking about that, my own inner child thing. And as I reread it, it was like I was rereading it to my own inner child when I was young, and I was like kind of pouring that love out and receiving it back in as I was reading it. And that's when I started, you know, the tears started, and I started crying and rereading this letter I wrote, you know. And it was just a nice moment. And in that moment, I was like, man, I don't know. I felt like if I was a kid, I would want to hear this letter. Like, what is that love like? You know, just to kind of get the energy, the feel of it. And that's why I wanted to share this letter, because I wanted to share it for anybody else out there that maybe needs to hear this letter. Because it's not just about me loving my son. It's about me choosing to love him that way. And it's also about me choosing to love my own self, all my mistakes, my successes, my downfalls, my upfalls, my hills and valleys, and still loving it. And that gave me a lot of joy. And so I wanted to be able to share it with anybody else that wanted to hear that. I'm also going to post the letter in the description if you want to be able to read it, do anything you want with it. But that, I want this video to be the start of something. Like, I can't even express into words with it, but I want it to be that kind of sharing. I want to share that kind of love. on these videos, that realness and that connection. Because I know there'll be some people that resonate with it. And then we'll see where this all goes. So let me go ahead and read it here. Okay. And I do start this off with the nickname that I have for my son. So I don't know if it is kind of funny to explain, but it's a combination of like my little dude, or we used to joke around and say brah, like little brah. So I just combined them. It's Duubrah. And I don't know, I just caught on and I would always call him that. So I start the letter off that way. So here we go. Enjoy. This letter's also for you and your own inner child, whether you're a parent or you're not a parent. But if we could spark the unconditional love, I think, then my goal is accomplished with this video. Hey Duubrah. As I sit here trying to figure out how to put into words all we've shared, so many amazing, beautiful moments with the most awesome human in this world, so many memories and times when I doubted myself if I knew how to be a good father, but that I always looked to love and to do my best I could at the time, and just trusting and figuring out the rest along the way. I would like to start by saying how extremely proud of you I am, and always have been, to see how you have been able to adapt and learn so quickly, grow, and somehow always come out smiling, and more mature kid, teen, and now man. I'm proud of you for standing up for what you believe is right. It's what you came here for. When I sat down to write this, the thought crossed my mind, should I try ChatGPT? Is it a higher self or my higher spirit with AI? Could it be? Could it write a better letter than I could express? And in a more formal way, maybe? LOL. But no, not really. Just thought I would share the funny thought with the world we are in today. So different from when I was a kid, and rightfully so. It's always expanding, advancing, creates more contrast, and therefore more eternity. And hehe, little laugh. I'm doing this in a speech to text and figured, let's just see how it comes out. Son, I love you so much. Thanks for choosing me to be your dad and to be in this life during this time and space. You have taught me so many beautiful things about unconditional love. And to see your fervor for life and your passions and the beautiful way that you see things and all your perspective, it's so cool to see as a dad. As you got older and older, gosh, I remember when you were just about the size of a football and your little fingers could barely wrap around my fingers, and playing with you, all the silly fun times. You would wake me up early in the morning and say, Dad, you want to play trains? Or we would just make up our own games and have fun. Oh, and I can't forget all those forts with the gigantic sofa we had. Haha, so rad. Oh, and camping in our living room in your Spiderman suit, LOL. And all those years ago, I just wanted to do my best that I could from my part to help facilitate and guide you to be all that you are, to love what you do, and to have. I've been so blessed to have such an amazing son, what now feels like a best friend and beyond best friends, as you have already become such an awesome adult. So grateful and pretty rad looking back now how everything turned out with you being so healthy, strong, happy, happy-go-lucky kiddo, and one of the huge goals for you a while ago was just to get you ready for life and to 18 years old. Smart and for adulting and some street smarts, haha. So you could thrive in all that you choose in life. And now to see you finishing high school and getting ready for college, it's going to be so fun to be a part of this next phase of your life and a huge milestone. And to see you grow even more over these next few years. And not just you, but myself also still. And always growing. Never really stops, sheesh. Like always and going forward, I want you to know that I'll always have your back and support you in whatever ways I can along your journey. I will be here to celebrate all your successes, offer guidance during moments of uncertainty, and provide a listening ear when you need to share your awesome joys and or even sorrows. No matter where life goes, remember that home will always be a FaceTime, phone call, or text, or flight, or stay a long time here with me anytime. With love, warmth, and acceptance of all that is you. Thank you for teaching me so much about love, patience, and the ability I had and have to stand up in ways I wanted to choose to learn how to dad. You have brought so much joy and purpose into my life. And sometimes just the thought of you brought me through some deep, gnarly times that I really deeply wanted to press on and be a dad for you and see you grow. And I am forever grateful to have you as my son. Next time I might come to be your son. Unless we already did that one, Forever friends. And the fun we will get up to on the other side when we wake up from this dream. But still a fun dream here, and all life has showed us. Congratulations, high school grad. I'll be seeing you soon when I come out, and we'll have some fun, relaxed time at your second home in the islands with me and some good food. Duubrah, your future is filled already with so many opportunities, and there is always a next adventure. Excited for you. All things work together for good for you. I know you already understand this with your perspective, and I believe you can accomplish whatever you choose to be and do in this life, and I fully support it. Last things for me in this long letter, as you step into this new chapter of your life, I encourage you to always be curious, ask why in everything, and explore the spiritual aspects in everything and your direct connection to spirit of your being and why you have the perspective you do. Never be afraid to look deep within yourself, and or you can still be afraid, but still look and know you'll be okay to see clearly all you choose. Always recognize that you are part of something greater, intricately and perfectly connected, rooted in the world around you. While you are still in spirit, bridging heaven and earth as you choose to flow of your moments in life, embrace the beauty of nature and trees and just sitting with them. The wonder of creation in all things and inside every person, and the presence of joy of spirit in every moment. Also, remember to take care of your soul, your spirit, and your fortress that is you. In the midst of life's busyness, it's important to nurture your mind, your body, and your spirit as a balancing piece. Only you will know what you need along the way. Take time to pause, breathe, and find moments of stillness. Engage in activities that bring you peace and rejuvenation, whether it's spending time at the beach, forests, sitting and breathing, or even pursuing creative endeavors that ignite your soul. It's why you exist. It's what's called the genius state. That spirit flow of where your passion and your gifts meet are in action. You are a unique human with amazing gifts and passions that are only uniquely yours. Follow your spirit, heart, and pursue the things that excite you. For it is in those moments that you see your own spirit come alive and your purpose without expectations of how it turns out. The juice is in the igniting the flow that is your reward, living with constant joy in your choices. And lastly, yourself unconditionally, and you know how to love others unconditionally. For you are worthy of all the love and happiness in the world. Cultivate love and compassion towards others the best you know how, even if that means saying no, just because you feel that is what's right. You already have the ability to overcome anything. Use it anytime you choose. Well done, son. Oh, my letter turned into a one-page book on how to life. Haha, you know me. Love you, son, always. Dad. I almost started tearing up there a little bit there in the beginning. I didn't want to make sure I could read it. I hope you enjoyed the letter. It was for you also, and your own inner child, and those around you and the ones that you're going to meet too. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. And maybe just enjoyed a little bit of breath and peace with the scenery. It's a good spot. Until the next video, we'll be doing some dad advice. Enjoy your day.